morning, everyone. Today we're looking at mathematics. I will be looking at Pythagoras theorem. We'll be looking at Pythagoras theorem. We'll be looking at Pythagoras theorem. Now, how does Pythagoras theorem state? Pythagoras theorem states that in a right angled triangle, the longest side is what we call the hypotenuse. The square of it is equal to the square of its two other sides. The two other sides are what we call opposites and adjacent. The two other sides is what we call opposites and adjacent. So we have hypotenuse square equals to opposite square plus adjacent square. We have hypotenuse square equals to opposite square plus adjacent square. So, and what I'm trying to explain is that when you have a right angle, let's have a right angle. We have a right angle triangle. This is the longest side. This side is the longest side. We call it hypotenuse. Now, this is opposite and adjacent. This is a right angle triangle. So, the square of it is equal to opposite square plus adjacent square. We have opposite square plus adjacent square. So, let's assume we have something like this. We have an example. We have 4 and 3. We have to find this. So what do we do? The longest side, you can see, the longest side is s squared, which is equal to 3 squared, or you can say 4 squared plus 3 squared. And that is 16 plus 9. So we have s squared. So s squared equals to 25. S equals to square root of 25. And that is 5. So our s equals to 5. Our s equals to 5. Our s equals to 5. Now, let's pick another question to solve. They told us that we have ABC is a triangle. ABC is a triangle in which B is 90 degree. So, in each of the following, we will label the side. Draw and label. So we have AB equals to 6M. BC equals to 8M. So when we have have something like this. We want to label A, B, C. A, B, C. Note, our B is what? 90. Our B is what? 90. They told us our AB is what? 6 centimeter. BC is, 6 meter. Then BC is 8 meter. So what do? We write AC square equals to AB square plus BC square. So that is 6 square plus 8 square. We have 36 plus 64. And that means AC square equals to 100. The next thing to do is to take the square. You take the square root of both sides. You take the square root of both sides. You take the square root of both sides. So we have AC equals to square root of 100. And the answer equals to 10. 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 Now, I'll give you one exercise on this. I'm going to give you one exercise on this. So, take an exercise. Take an exercise. I'll give you an exercise on that. We have AB equals to 9 centimeter. BC equals to 12 centimeter. And angle B is 90. Now I want us to look at another example. 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 We have Y, S, 5, 9, 15. I want us to look at another example. I want us to look at another example. So if you have this, the first thing to do, the first thing we'll consider, we have 15, 9, Y. So the longest side is what? 15 square equals to Y square plus 9 square. So remember, the longest side, the square of the longest side, which is 15 square, we have 225 equals to Y square plus 81. We have 225 minus 81 equals to Y square. So subtract 225 minus 81. We have 4. Borrow 1 here, we have 4. And we have 1. So we have 144 equals to Y square. Then the next thing to do is take the square root of both sides. Y equals to square root of 144. And that equals to 12. That is 12 centimeter. That is 12. That is 12. So after you've gotten your value to be 12, the next thing to do, is you draw your right angle, you move it, we have 12, we have X, we have 5. So what do? The longest side is what? S. So we have S squared equals to 12 squared plus 5 squared. So we have 144 plus 25. The longest side, look at the longest side, S, which is equals to 169. The next thing to do is take the square root. Take the square root of both sides. So we have X equals to square root of 169. And the answer equals to 13. 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 So you have an exercise. You have an exercise to take. You have an exercise to take. So you have an exercise to take. 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 So we have 9x, y, 17, 8. 17, 8. So in this case, you find your y first. After you gotten your y, you go ahead and find your x. And how will you know which one is the longest side? Wherever the square faces, look at it. Wherever this square faces, is the longest side. Please take note. Wherever the square faces is what we call the longest side. Wherever the square faces is what we call the longest side. Wherever the square faces is what we call the longest side. Wherever the square faces is what we call the longest side. Wherever the square faces is what we call the longest side. Wherever, please. So, thank you.